Hi there and welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at how you can customize your quick menu in your Ren'Py game. But before we do, a quick disclaimer. I am very new to Ren'Py. And I'm new to Python. I've been a developer for many years, but when it comes to this, I'm still very much learning. This to say, don't necessarily take everything I show you here for gospel. I share because it helps me learn better. And I hope that by sharing, I'm also able to help anyone else out there who are also learning. We all learn by observing what others have done or are doing and then repeating that process. Enough said. Let's get started. Ren'Py comes with a default quick menu. If you don't know which one that is, it's the menu you see at the very bottom of your screen, which provides you with options to load and save, skip forward, call up preferences, and so on. And I didn't like it. Okay, that's not fair. But I wanted to change it, because it eats up too much precious screen real estate. In my opinion. For a visual novel, I generally want the screen to be free of as much clutter as possible, so as to leave as much room for the, hopefully, beautiful imagery available to the viewer. And because of this, I wanted to change things up. I wanted it to take up less space on my screen. And the best way, in my opinion, to do that, is to change the menu from showing a series of text buttons to showing a list of icons instead, while still preserving decent usability for viewers who aren't super happy with icons. The latter I wanted to achieve by providing a good tooltip when hovering over the icons in the new menu. This is the result I ended up with. And while I may still make adjustments as my experience with Ren'Py increases, and I find better ways of achieving the results that I want, I'm quite happy with the result I've got so far. Let's take a look at how I did this. My adventure began on a website called thenownproject.com. There are, of course, literal hundreds if not thousands of sites on the internet where you can find icons that you could use in your project. I've picked this one. Feel free to do your own searches for things like free icons or Ren'Py icon resources. I would recommend that you do a few searches until you find an icon design that you like. And then try and see if the author of the icon has a full set available. That way you can end up with a set of icons that all look and feel like they belong together. To find an icon set, search for a few obvious common icons, like Save or Settings. Then see if there are any icon collections that look like they might be diverse enough to include everything you're going to need. In the example here, let's go with the Friendly Systematic Icons by Kevin White. Now browse through the collection and pick out the icons you are going to need. And for each of them, download them and save them off somewhere. In my example here, I will be downloading the icons as SVG files. I prefer these, as the format allows me to resize the icons as I see fit, without any pixelation occurring. I then bring them into Photoshop. Size them at 256 by 256, and do a quick export to PNG. Don't worry too much about the size for now. But in general, it is better to make the icons a little bit too big than too small. Scaling down usually provides better results than the opposite. Then, repeat this process for all the icons you plan to have in your quick menu. In Ren'Py projects, the following menu options are available by default in your quick menu: Back, History, Skip, Auto, Save, Quick Save, Quick Load, Preferences. You don't have to use all of these, but I'll be going with most of them for the time being. In the end, this is the list of icons I ended up with. I didn't include an icon for history, as I don't really feel it belongs on the quick menu. If you feel strongly otherwise, feel free to leave a comment below. And with that, it's time for some code. The first thing I did was to get all my icons defined in Ren'Py. With this, I had a couple of challenges to face. 1. I wasn't exactly sure how big I wanted my icons to be. So I wanted to bring the icons in and be able to easily specify a resizing factor for all of them. 2. I also wasn't sure what color I wanted my icons in, and what color to give them when I hovered over them. Let's start with the first problem. In Ren'Py, I used a simple zoom transform. I went with a zoom of 0.3, so scaling the icons to about 1/3 the size. The benefit is, I can easily change this later, should I want to. For the second problem, I decided to use a feature of Ren'Py called Image Manipulators. Image Manipulators could easily be an entire video on their own, so I won't go into much detail with it here. But simply put, Image Manipulators allow you to add effects and transformations to your images before they are displayed. Effects could be blurring or cropping, adding tint, manipulating saturation, and so on. What I needed was a simple recoloring of my icons. And for that, I can use the image manipulator, MatrixColor. Inside MatrixColor we find a function called Colorize, which has the ability to recolorize a black and white image. Which is perfect for my use case, as my icons are only black and transparent. You call it like shown above. As my icons only contain black color, I can completely ignore the white_color argument here. I define a constant to determine what actual color my icons should be, again so this will be easy to change later, and then I proceed to set up the image variants that I require. By image variants, I mean how to display the different states my buttons could be in. State varies, depending on how you interact with your button. In the case of the quick menu, only 3 states are really of interest: idle, hover, and inactive. Inactive is, for example, the quick load button when you have never done a quick save. Or the back button when you are at the very start of your script. Hover is what happens to the button when your mouse hovers over it. I decide to just go with 3 different constants that defines colors for each button state I want to control. And from that point, it's just a simple albeit slightly boring copy-paste job to finish this up. Fortunately, like any good TV chef, I've already done all of this so we don't have to wait around. With all that out of the way, we have only but to tie all the loose ends together. In my own game/UI folder, I add my own QuickMenu.rpy file and start setting it up. Here's a quick tip. If you, like me, try to avoid modifying the original Ren'Py files as much as possible, here's what you can do instead. Notice how I, after my init statement, have the number 100. This is how Python, or Ren'Py, to be honest, I am not entirely sure which one, handles priorities. Ren'Py already have a screen named quick_menu defined at what I assume will be a default priority of 0. I now go ahead and define my own quick_menu screen, but at a higher priority of 100. The higher number wins, so my version of quick_menu will be the one the game uses. All this, without modifying the original screens.rpy file. Okay. So, I set up the tooltip that I am going to need to give some descriptive text when the user hovers over my new icons. I then set up a VBox where one row will be my tooltip and the other row will be my icon bar. And the icon bar itself, I set up under its own HBox. This is exactly like how the original Ren'Py quick menu is set up, except mine uses image buttons instead of text buttons. The only thing to make note of here is how I tie in my image buttons to the transform I defined earlier with the @button_zoom directive. And that's all there really is to it. And with that, I have nothing other than to wish you all a happy new year and all the best for 2023. As for me, I feel I have now gotten myself accustomed enough to all the new tooling and technology I've been spending the past 4 to 5 months on getting to grips with. I hope to keep presenting content for everyone to enjoy and hopefully learn something from. As always, feel free to comment below on anything you feel you want to add to the conversation. And please do share any tips and insights you might have on how I can make this quick menu code even better. I am painfully aware that there is still a fair bit of code repetition in there, something I instinctively always try and avoid. However, this is where I am currently, on my learning curve. And I hope I was still able to give you something to take away from this video. If nothing else, even a friendly chuckle will do. Until next time. Take care.